Hello, I'm Darren again. Today's topic comes from questions about the end or ending of a narcissistic relationship, questions about the love bombing and the hoovering that usually follows. But one question in particular was, how do you know whether or not someone is genuine about changing or things getting better? Now, this could be getting back into a romantic relationship or a friendship, or maybe regaining contact with a family of origin, or perhaps rejoining a social group of some kind. Now, I'm not going to advise you one way or another whether or not you should give someone a second chance, or maybe a 20th chance in some cases, but I will give you one simple question to ask that might help inform your decision. But first of all, hoovering refers to a manipulative tactic often employed by narcissistic people. It describes their attempt to suck their victims back into a relationship or some kind of interaction, and it typically occurs after a period of discard or separation. Now, sometimes a narcissistic person might discard someone, but not permanently, and it's like a push them away, pull them back kind of dynamic. But usually it's when someone has maybe had enough and decided to end the relationship, but the narcissistic person doesn't want it to end. They want that person back in their orbit. And it involves various strategies aimed at re-establishing some kind of contact to regain control, or maybe elicit some kind of emotional reaction from their victim. Quite commonly, you might hear false apologies or excuses, things like, I can't live with myself that I hurt you, or I don't know what I've done to hurt you, but I'll always love you, or if I say I'm sorry, will you come back? Sometimes it's like they think words are magic spells or something. If they just get the right combination, everything is miraculously fixed. But in order to coax someone back, they might make vague promises of an amazing future together. There could be guilt tripping and blame shifting, phrases like, I'm trying to make things work here and you keep bringing up the past, you just won't let that go. But there's no acknowledgement that the reason you won't let it go is because it keeps happening. Now, when it comes to love bombing, this is usually showering their target with excessive praise, affection, any kind of attention to try to rekindle feelings of attachment. Now, this could include showing you pictures of you both looking happy when you were first together, wistfully asking questions like, oh, where did it all go wrong? And this is in spite of you telling them repeatedly where it was going wrong. Or romanticized text messages, things like, I was just thinking of you as I was walking through this wonderful, lovely field of pretty flowers. You always loved the countryside. Now, the thing is, sometimes you know someone well enough to know that it's all a load of crap, but not always. Sometimes it can be difficult to discern if someone really is regretful and is really trying to make amends, or if they're just trying a different tactic. So, how can you tell? Well, one way is by asking just a simple question. If the narcissistic person asks something like, are you sure you really want to end this? Do you not want to give it another go? Or do you want to try to get back together again? Maybe the question to ask is, if we get back together, what would be different? Or what would change? Now, that might not be an easy question for anyone to answer, but they'll probably give it a bit of thought. If someone is narcissistic, that is a question they really will struggle to answer. Now, you might get promises of again some kind of amazing future, or a promise of like a once in a lifetime holiday. They might answer with something like, you're throwing away something wonderful and amazing here. They might tell you something they done that they think will impress you, or maybe tell you how empty, low, and pointless their life is without you. Quite commonly, they might just stare blankly at you as if the question hasn't even registered. Either that, or they are so used to you giving them ideas and doing their problem solving for them. It's like they want you to answer your own question. Now, if it genuinely is narcissism you're dealing with, you'll get plenty of different responses to that question, but it's unlikely any of those responses actually answer it. Now, the reason being, to answer a question like what would be different would mean having to acknowledge there was something wrong on their part in the first place. But that would mean having to accept some kind of flaw, some kind of wrongdoing, and have to take some kind of responsibility. So instead, there's usually just promises of generous gifts, wonderful futures, but nothing about actual change, no acknowledgement of what caused the breakup in the first place, because that would bring the focus back to them and their behaviour, and that would cause too much shame. Now, to be fair, in some cases they might claim they are trying, and that's okay, fair enough, they may well be. But what are they trying, and how are they trying it? They might ask for a clean slate. Okay, fair enough. What are they going to do with it? What did they do with all the other clean slates they were given? Narcissistic abuse can be psychologically damaging for the victims. Love bombing and hoovering often perpetuates cycles of abuse and keeps them ensnared in the toxic relationship dynamics. And I think it's important for people who have experienced narcissistic abuse to recognize the tactics and discern the difference between a commitment to change and just a change in tactics. I also think it's important to remember that we're not trying to antagonize anyone. Sometimes you've no idea how a narcissist will react, especially if there are other comorbidities. So it's always best to make sure you're safe. I do hope you found this topic, this simple little question, to be helpful. If you did, please consider subscribing to my channel, and until next time, thanks for watching.